Welcome back to the Ivy Unleashed podcast. This is my first solo episode of 205 Ivy Unleashed episodes. This is the first time I'm solo dolo. And I got to say, it's a little bittersweet. I know Andrea did a solo episode a few episodes ago all about her miscarriage. If you have not listened and you are in the space where you can listen, it is so powerful, so powerful. And I just want to acknowledge her bravery, her vulnerability in doing that. That was not easy. My solo episode is going to be a little more lighthearted than the miscarriage episode for sure, but I'm going to go deep because that's what we do on this podcast. And today I just want to walk you through my experience with 75 Hard. Andrea and I did it back last fall together. She finished. I did not. We did a full episode on that experience, what happened, why I didn't finish, why I was really forced to stop because of my health. So if you haven't listened, would definitely recommend going back, listening to that. Before I dive in and talk about my experience, what I loved, what I didn't love, what I'm still doing from that challenge and what I would have done differently, and also if I would do it again, I just want to acknowledge Andrea and the work she does. Doing this by myself today, recording, having to set it up, this woman does it all. She not only mothers 3 children, runs the marathon in all 50 states, but she also is in charge of setting up the podcast, making sure we're recording, editing the podcast. Everything you see is her, and it ain't an easy job. So I am feeling very grateful as I come into her house this morning and set this all up on my own. So shout out to Andrea. I love you. I appreciate you. And maybe everyone listening, just take this as an opportunity to think, who in my life does some things that I don't even have to think about, whether it's the grocery shopping or getting the kids ready for school or whatever it may be. Because just this feeling of gratitude radiating throughout my body, it feels really good. And I'm very lucky to have Andrea in my life. And I just want to say thank you. So thank you. All right. Now to my experience with 75 Hard. We talk a lot about 75 Hard, or we have in the past. And for those listening who aren't familiar, or maybe have heard of it, but aren't really too sure, just to go back, what 75 Hard is, it is a 75-day challenge. And really, it was created to be a mental toughness challenge. The creator, Andy Frisella, he did it as a challenge for weight loss, for a discipline. And it's a few things, not a few, a handful of things that you do every single day for 75 days. And it is a full mind, body extravaganza. And what it is 2 workouts, 2 45-minute workouts a day. One has to be outside, no alcohol, a diet of your choosing, a progress pic, a gallon of water, 10 pages of a personal development or self-help book, and no cheat meals. So you do all of these, you track it through an app, and by the end of 75 days, you are promised, if you completed, a transformation. For me, I noticed so many things. And if you are a regular listener of this show, you follow us on social media, you know Andrea and I thrive when it comes to challenges. We love a challenge. Like, girlfriends running a marathon in all 50 states. I'm constantly challenging myself. And it really is this, I think it comes down to just seeing what you're capable of. The dopamine that comes with that, the dopamine hit of accomplishment and just the striving, right? Not even I did it. It's the who you become in the process. That is super cool. And for me, when I reflect on my experience with 75 Hard, it's the self-awareness that it gave me that I loved the most. And when it comes back to my first time of doing 75 Hard, I got a bacterial infection and I had to stop. It was too hard on my body. We recorded this full episode where I talked about I need more of a 75 soft. I need a soft life when it comes to healing and my body and what it's gone through. 75 Hard was too hard. But I couldn't take no for an answer. And fast forward a few months later, I decided it was time to give it another shot. Andrea had completed it. There's probably a little bit of FOMO in there. And for me, I've talked about it before, but I love having the decision made for me. There's no decision fatigue. There's no mental back and forth conversation in my head of going out to eat. Should I drink? Should I not? Oh, should I get up when my alarm goes off and go to the gym? Doing a challenge like this, it forces you to do it. To, like Nike, just do it. There's no back and forth in the head. And for me, that's so exhausting. I found in my healing journey, do I do this? Should I do this? That constant inner dialogue, like I need it to stop. It's what we call the monkey mind, where when it goes rampant, you shouldn't do this, you should do this. Why'd you do this? Why aren't you doing this? They do it better, the comparison. Having a challenge of, okay, these are the things you're focusing on. This is your plan for healing, for getting healthy. For me, these past 7 years, I've become so obsessed, and I've learned this, so obsessed with finding the perfect plan. And I think looking back, 75 Hard, it took that away from me. It took that needing to find the plan of, okay, here's the plan, follow it for 75 days. And you can focus on what you want to be focusing on. I'm getting my yoga certification, doing my 2 hours, which is super fun. And during 75 Hard, the ruminating about my health, I was hopeful that that would go away. Now, that was not the case, unfortunately. So that's really why I decided to do 75 Hard, is I wanted an excuse to not have to drink. I wanted to take the mental, the talk, the back and forth out of it. And I love structure. I love a routine. I was feeling very out of control at the time with my gut health, with my mental health. And I was hopeful that this would give me a plan to just focus on, a plan to health, really, is what it came down to. And there are certain things that I loved about it. Looking back, like I said, I really didn't hit snooze because I had to be super intentional about when I was carving out these workouts, when I would have the time in my day to do it. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of being in offense versus defense with your time, because if you're getting to 8 o'clock at night and you still haven't done 5 out of the 10 or whatever it may be things, you're playing catch up, and that is not a good feeling. So I would get up and I would really front load my morning with making sure first thing I do is the workout, is getting in a bunch of water, because you got to drink a gallon, getting in a bunch of water, taking that progress pic, getting in my 10 pages of my personal development book. During that time, I read Wired for Wealth. I read Dr. Jill Carnigan's book, which her episode is coming out today, or it came out today by the time we record this. Oh, so good. Definitely recommend checking out her work, listening to that episode. But I loved getting to read a book and having a ritual around that of, okay, I get up, make my coffee, read my 10 pages, chug a bunch of water, get the workout in. And getting 2 workouts in, what worked well for me was just walking. Getting outside in nature, I loved that piece of it. My skin cleared up, which was a big reason also why I did it. When you're drinking a gallon of water a day, when you are eating healthy, you're eating whole real foods, you're moving your body, you're sweating, not having alcohol, it did amazing things for my skin, which I loved. And the diet that I chose was, I did no grain. So I'm already gluten and dairy free. And I chose to do no grains, no legumes, and no corn, really focusing on an anti-inflammatory diet as I worked to heal candida, overgrowth of yeast that was going on in my gut. Now, looking back, what I realized is that was way too restrictive for me. Trigger warning, if food is a trigger for you, which it is for me, I see a diet online and I want to adopt it. I'm like, that is the missing piece. That is the key. What I've learned is what I need is to slow the hell down and work on my stress. Since 75 Hard, I have re-entered therapy to work on trauma, doing EMDR, really my relationship with food, my relationship with health. So I know I can say, okay, I chose this diet, and that might start getting some people thinking. That is my one of my biggest takeaways was that it really, if I would have went longer with it, it would have definitely resorted to some disordered eating. 100% towards the end of 75 Hard. And now I'm kind of getting into what I didn't like about it, what I would have changed, or, there's good and bad with everything, and looking at it as neutral. Here's what I liked. Here's what I want to continue with: the self-discipline, the awareness, getting things done, feeling productive, not hitting snooze. And then there's the things I didn't like how structured and quote unquote hard that it was. It stressed my body out a little too much. I had a few doctor appointments with my functional doc, shout out Tara Woodland, and my last appointment, both I ended up going with Andrea, which was a really fun experience. I definitely recommend bringing someone with you to doctor's appointments. Another thing I've learned throughout the years, makes such a difference. But she had said to me, we can do all the supplements, we can change the diet, we can do all these lifestyle changes, but the lifestyle change that we're missing is the stress, is lowering the stress in your body. When your body is in a chronic state of fight or flight, it can't heal. The blood, the oxygen, it's not rushing to the things that need to be working properly, like your digestive system, like your hormones. It's pumping adrenaline and cortisol through your body. And I know these things, right? Consciously, I know these things, but it's years and years of going without answers and not having help and needing to figure it out on my own, that I take that same approach in a challenge, in a diet, and going to extreme. And 75 Hard is the perfect catalyst for allowing you to go extreme. And it was too extreme for me. My hair was super thin. It wasn't falling out, but it was getting really, really thin, which showed me I'm not getting in enough nutrients. I am not eating enough. Working multiple jobs, getting in both workouts, having to be so structured. I didn't have the flexibility in eating what worked for me, like working in a restaurant. I had to be really, really strict and only eat certain things. And at the end of the day, point blank, I just wasn't getting in enough nutrients. And that taught me, again, going back to the self-awareness piece, that I need that in my diet. I know what choices I need to make when it comes to food. I am obsessed with nutrition. I have studied it. I have lived it. I know it makes me feel good. And I need to just not question that and just do it and try and remove the stress away from it. So that was a big takeaway for me was the food piece. It was too strict. It was not getting in enough food. I loved the water piece. That was big. I was peeing a lot. I was moving a lot to go pee. Cleared up the skin, but the food, I didn't love the food. Now, something I did like about it that I would recommend if anyone wants to do it or anyone does any sort of challenge is making it work for you. So one of the things is taking a progress pic. I did not want to stand in front of a mirror in my sports bra and shorts and thumbs up the mirror. I didn't want it. What I wanted was my skin to clear up. So I took progress pics of my skin and I could see that transformation and I liked that. So that is making it work for you. I did 2 walks a day most of the time because I could tell my body was really stressed out, and I knew if I did a hardcore HIIT workout or even strength or a hot yoga class, it would be too much for my body. Some people were like, that doesn't count. For me, I was moving my body. It counted. My last 2 weekends of the challenge, I was on a family vacation to Savannah, Georgia, and the second one was a bachelorette party in Destin, Florida. Both of those, I made the workouts work for me. We walked the beach. I counted it. The girls would stop, play in the water, look at the sand and the seashells, and I would just pace. And I'm like, this counts. I'm moving my body. So finding what works for you, I think that helped remove a lot of the stress from it. So I could look forward to it. I could be in the moment. Now, being in the moment, that's another thing when I reflect back. I was really obsessed with just the check mark. Did I do it? Check. Did I do it? Check. Now, when I go to read or I go to work out, I find myself being a lot more present because I'm doing it because I want to do it. I'm not doing it to check off for the dopamine hit just to get it done. When I would front load all the things, I was doing it just a quick check and get it done, not to actually reap the benefits and enjoy it. And that feels really good. Now, would I appreciate this much if I didn't have that looking back and have that experience during 75 Hard? I'm not sure. But there are still a lot of things of the challenge that I'm doing without that added pressure of you have to. It's become a lifestyle. It's become more relaxed. And I'm very aware of how extreme I like to go. Like, for example, I told myself the last day of the challenge, or I think it was the next day when I was done, okay, your next challenge is for 30 days. You are not doing a damn challenge. You're not signing up for anything. No. What did I do that night? I found a Couch to 5K plan and downloaded it. Now, I caught myself and I haven't done it, but it's just how my brain works, is it clings to wanting a plan, wanting structure. And something I was talking to my therapist about is that bad? Like, what is that border where it's a happy medium? It doesn't stress my body out too much, but it allows me to be disciplined and show up, because ultimately that's what I really want. Out of this challenge, I wanted to be more clear-headed, to be more intentional and focused, and be more in tune with my intuition. Whenever I've gone long stints without drinking, and I know Andrea can relate to this and we've talked about it in the past, something magical happens. And for me, it's being able to hear my intuition. I stopped the challenge, or ended the challenge, completed the challenge, whatever you want to call it, and I felt such a pull for yoga. I had gone 75 days. I would do it here and there throughout the challenge, but not like I used to. And I'm like, I need more of this. It lit something within me, and I could hear that inner voice where it wasn't obsessed with the diet. It wasn't obsessed with the career move, and that monkey mind wasn't going. It wasn't the ego. It was more of a calm voice. It felt expansive. And that's how we know that's how we know the intuition is speaking to us. When it feels good, when it feels right. And towards the end of 75 Hard, it didn't feel that way. I was at about day 65 and I'd gotten some test results back, hormones that were really out of balance and scared me. And I knew they were. I could tell based on how my body was reacting. My period was really short and really light. My hair was like crazy thinning. I was exhausted. And my practitioner messaged me and she's like, I think 75 Hard is being really detrimental. It's really detrimental to your health right now. You need to work on the stress. I'm like, okay. So that is the focus. How do we prioritize our health in a way that doesn't stress the body out? Because you can be doing all of the things, and I am evidence of that, and you're not getting better because you're so obsessed with the thing and figuring it out and compulsive around it. So this is my commitment, verbally committing to relaxing, to finding the pleasure, the joy, finding what feels calm yet still expansive to me, really finding that love and that light. We just recorded with Bria Gad, the period whisperer, and it was such a good conversation. And I have found over the years of doing these episodes, talking to incredible guests, the messages I need to hear land exactly when I need to hear them. Recording with Dr. Jill, recording with Bria, who their main messages are slow down, turn inward. You can't heal the hormones if you're not focusing on decreasing the stress, focusing on the pleasure. And that's something that 75 Hard misses. Andrew and I talked about this in the episode we recorded. There is no room for rest or play or rejuvenation. 75 days of go, hit. It doesn't encompass the humanness. Especially as women, we are cyclical humans. That week before the period, when I am eating barely anything and I am getting in 2 workouts, even though it was 2 walks, it was still when am I going to fit this in? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this on vacation? That chatter, that thinking was constantly on. I couldn't shut my brain off. Too much of anything isn't a good thing, even when it comes to a challenge. 75 days might be a little too much, is what I learned. I learned that 31 days is good enough. It's why we created our challenge for 31 days, 1 month, challenging yourself to something. And also within that challenge, having room for play and rest and rejuvenation. I left 75 Hard needing a weekend, needing my nights, looking forward to when I could be done with this challenge and having Sundays as a rotting day or a recharging day. I saw this reel on Instagram and it was, we should have a 3-day weekend. Fridays should be for errands. Saturdays should be for being social, and Sundays should be for rotting. And I instantly thought, yep, sign me up. That is my future. That is my present. That is what I'm working towards. We need those days of rest. And I am so much more appreciative and grateful, and I see the value in them even more having done 75 Hard. I'm glad I did it. Check the box. Don't need to do it again. I kind of feel the same way I felt about running my marathon. I did it. I can say I did it. I learned a lot from it, and I'm good. Take me to the yoga mat. I don't need 26.2 miles. Give me a camera. I'll record Andrea. But I'm finding what are my things, what are bringing me joy, what are bringing me peace, what feels nice and relaxing to my body. Because this not having to hit a check mark, I feel a lot better when it comes to my health than when I was doing a health challenge. It did bring me a lot of awareness though, which I'm grateful for. So there's 2 sides of it. And I'm noticing that there are 2 sides of everything. And how do I view it as neutral? Taking it as a learning lesson. Some things that I'm continuing to do that I think would be helpful to share are always having a water bottle with me. Noticing when I'm dehydrated, starting my day with water is huge. Making exercise a non-negotiable, but being flexible with it. I don't have to do this, but would this make me feel better? And if this particular workout feels a little too stressful, what would feel good? Would stretching feel good? Because that's movement. What do I need in my body right now? Still being very in tune and intentional with what I need. And that leads me to my last point, which is keeping wellness habits at the forefront of my mind. So although I'm not obsessed with clicking the check mark on the app every day, I do have them as tasks in Asana, project management app, and it's been super helpful. So if I don't get to it, I don't get to it, but at least I'm reminded of, hey, there's this meditation that every afternoon you kind of want to do. Did you do it yet? Pops up and I see it. Or my workouts. Whatever wellness habit you really want to be intentional about that isn't a habit yet, a habit you want to form, it's got to be in the calendar. It's got to be on the to-do list. And I view that now as, oh, this is me taking care of me. This isn't a task that I have to do. It's, are you doing this because it's a break? It's allowing you to feel calm and at peace. And if it feels too stressful, I hit that damn check mark anyways, because it's all just a made up game. If I don't do the workout, I'm like, okay, we'll worry about this yesterday. Click it, go away. There's no shame. There's no guilt. It's just this reminder of, hey, did you do what you said you wanted to do? And if not, there's probably a good reason, because you're not doing it on purpose. You're doing it because it's not what you need in this moment. You're choosing to do what you need in this moment. And there's beauty in that. My conclusion of 75 Hard. Would I do it again? No. No. I need more balance. I shouldn't say no. I always say normalize changing your mind. The past episode we recorded, I said I probably would never do 75 hard. Attempted again. I got to day 47 and I did it. So normalize changing your mind. Right now when I think about it, I think I need more balance. I need more slow. I need more rest. I need to do less so I can pour into more of what I want to be doing. Less things so I have energy to do more of the things that I want. More grace, more fun, more yoga, more meditation, more breath work. And I think tapping into the feminine energy. It's why I'm loving yoga so much is I grew up a dancer. And for me, it's slow movement and it feels like a dance. I saw a quote a few weeks ago and it said, my mind lives in the future, my body lives in the past, and yoga brings both of those into the present. And that's so, so true. When I am fully where my feet are in the present moment, I feel unstoppable. I feel healthy. I feel at peace. I feel joy. I feel like none of the problems that are out there exist because I'm solely right here, right now, just how present I am in this conversation, speaking to you right now. And that is such a gift. That is something that supplements, a diet, an exercise routine can't give you. But moving your body and breathing, working on your mindset to build that present muscle, it's a practice. The more we do it, the better we get, the more at peace we feel. And I think because I live this, we complicate it. Like as I'm speaking out loud, I'm hearing myself say, you slowing down and breathing is the best medicine. And that is the answer we're all looking for is how do I get more energy? How do I feel better? How can I keep up? It's when you're in this moment and you're not running a race. What are we in a rush for? I keep reminding myself direction is more important than speed. Do I feel aligned with the work I'm doing? Am I having fun? Am I at peace? That's what matters. Noticing when the people around you say certain things or act a certain way and being so appreciative. Having a conversation this morning with my boyfriend and just thinking to myself, God, how did I get so lucky? Or Andrea that sets up all of this tech and I'm like, oh, God bless this angel. You know, it's the gratitude, it's the breath work, it's the using our mind and our body to slow time. We can't slow time, but when you're in the present moment, it feels like you're slowing time. And I believe that's the beauty of challenging yourself, taking a break from drinking, so you can become aware. You can notice your surroundings, notice how you're feeling, really tap in and tune in. Notice when something is stressing you out too much and you have to take a step back. That's power. That's beauty. That's bravery. And I want to invite all of you to do more of that. And by doing more of that, we do less. We slow down. And that's not what we always want to hear. No one wants to hear, just breathe, just slow down. In the midst of being in so much pain and searching for answers, doctors did tell me it's probably just stress. And that pissed me off. That pissed me off so much. So I'm not telling someone that's listening who is in a hard situation that they need to just breathe and they need to de-stress. What I'm telling you is you need to tune in and listen to what you need. Because what you need probably isn't the TikTok, the things you're seeing on social media. When you quiet that external noise, you put your hand on your heart, your hand on your stomach, you breathe, you feel that heartbeat underneath your hand, your body will tell you. it always knows it's your best doctor. Always, always, always trust it. Thank you for listening to my recap of 75 Hard. I hope it sparked something within you, whether that be the need to slow down, to rest, to try a challenge. Maybe you want to try 75 Hard. Maybe you're like, wow, that's a little aggressive, which it is. And you want to try the Ultimate Reset, which is our challenge, which encompasses rest and play and rejuvenation and really just focuses on the 4 major categories of wellness: sleep, exercise, nutrition, stress. And we do it in a way that feels good, where we can have that fun. And we are hosting our next challenge July 1st. So if this is of any interest to you, you want to check it out, we'll put the link below in the show notes. Definitely, it's worth checking out. We have a really good time. It's the accountability, it's the support. It's a lot of the things that we realized 75 Hard was missing when it comes to feeling good. So definitely check that out and let me know what you thought of this episode. Maybe you've tried 75 Hard and you want to share your experience. I would love to hear it. I live for the community that we're building, the hearing what other people are doing, what's working, what have you found? I want to know. I want to know it all. But I also don't want to know, because I want to keep building this intuition. That's what I'll leave you with, is that dance of we share, we see things on social media. It's such a beautiful place, but it cannot replace your own intuition. And when you notice that it is, that's your cue. That's your sign to take a step back. So I'm going to leave you with 3 gold stars. Take them or leave them. If they spark something, you take it. If it feels overwhelming and you need to create your own 3 stars, that is what you do always. So my top one is to invite you to take a beat throughout your day, your morning, afternoon, evening. Pick a time during your day where you are going to take a beat, a pause. You're going to put one hand on your heart, one hand on your stomach. You're going to just focus on your breath. You're going to do square breathing. Inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, exhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4. Maybe you put on a guided meditation, something that allows you to calm your nervous system. Number 2 is, when that nervous system is calm, you're going to ask yourself, in this moment, what do I need? And you're just going to trust whatever comes up. That is what your body is trying to communicate with you. Not your ego, not your monkey mind, but your soul. It's trying to tell you something, and it is our job to listen. My 3rd one is listen. Whatever it tells you, implement it. Think, how do I make this happen? Our brain's job is to answer the questions we ask it. I always remind myself of that. And so what type of questions are you asking yourself? Is it, why don't I have money? Why don't I have the job I want? Why is it always this way? Or can we switch it to a how? Or a what? What would it take to make this possible? And have fun with it. Be curious. Your body is the best doctor. You know yourself better than anyone. And if a challenge is going to help you keep your word, work on your self-discipline, help you feel better, do it. If it's going to stress you out too much, don't do it. That is something I need to remind myself of daily. Why do I love a challenge? And right now it's really being curious myself. Why do I have these tendencies? Is this serving me, or is this a pattern that I've clung to for survival that I no longer need? And when I don't have any shame or guilt around it, I always say this, but when I don't have any shame or guilt and I'm just curious, that's when the magic happens. That's when the healing happens. So those are your top 3 takeaways. Take them or leave them, your 3 gold stars. And thank you for listening. This work, it's not easy, but Andrew and I's mission is to make it easier, to make taking care of you not feel like a chore, but a gift, that you have the means to listen to this podcast. You have the support to implement change. You You have the people in your corner. Andrew and I being two of those people. So thank you for being you. Please continue to tune in. Let us know what you want to hear more of, and take the light that we're hopefully projecting, that is another goal of ours, and transform that into your world, into your people. It all starts within us. So I'll leave you with your piece of gold for today's episode. And it is by one of my favorites, Gabby Bernstein, who I have had the pleasure of hugging, which is just insane. Grateful for that too. She's got amazing books. Definitely recommend checking her out. And she says, the pathway to healing old wounds is through honoring yourself for all that you've been through, acknowledging the conditioning that you've experienced, and compassionately loving yourself back to peace. This is Gold Ivy signing off. Listen to your truth and go chase your gold.